What if the very foundations of our society are slowly being eaten away, not by external enemies, but by something far more insidious brewing within? History isn't just dusty books. It's a chilling prophecy for what happens when we let our political differences turn into an us versus them war. Today, we look around and see a world where political lines feel less like policy debates and more like battle lines. We're witnessing something ancient reemerge, political tribalism. This isn't just about disagreeing on taxes or healthcare, it's about seeing the other side not as fellow citizens with different ideas, but as an enemy, fundamentally wrong, perhaps even evil. But what does history tell us about this phenomenon? What are the grim consequences when loyalty to your political team outweighs loyalty to shared values, facts, or even the common good? We're about to uncover the patterns that echo through centuries, patterns that should make us all sit up and pay attention. At its core, political tribalism is when your identity becomes so wrapped up in your political group that you prioritize its success above everything else. It means facts are filtered through your team's lens, opposing views are dismissed out of hand, and compromise becomes a dirty word. You might not even realize you're doing it, but when the other side's victory feels like a personal loss and their failure feels like your triumph, you're in tribal territory. This isn't just human nature, it's a dangerous path societies have walked many times before, usually with disastrous results. Let's journey back to ancient Rome, a republic that prided itself on its laws and institutions. For centuries, different factions, the optimates and the populares, vied for power. The optimates, or best men, generally favored the Senate and the established aristocracy. The populares, or favoring the people, sought support from the common citizens and often pushed for reforms. For a long time, these were political parties in a recognizable sense, often disagreeing but ultimately operating within the same system. They could debate, they could lose, and the republic would continue. But then things started to shift. The ambition of powerful individuals like Marius and Sulla, and later Pompey and Caesar, began to override loyalty to the state. These figures cultivated personal armies, promising land and riches to their soldiers, who in turn swore loyalty to their general, not to Rome itself. When Sulla marched on Rome with his legions, a shocking, unprecedented act, it signaled a new era. His political rivals weren't just opponents, they were enemies to be purged. Thousands were executed. This wasn't politics anymore, it was war by other means. The fabric of the Republic, once held together by tradition, law, and a shared sense of Roman identity, began to tear. The ensuing civil wars, marked by extreme violence and purges, ultimately led to the Republic's collapse and the rise of emperors. The Roman example teaches us that when personal and factional loyalty supersedes loyalty to the system eventually breaks. Fast forward to 17th century Europe, an era defined by religious fervor. The Protestant Reformation had splintered Christendom, creating deep, identity-forming divisions. This wasn't just about how you worshipped, it was about who you were, who your neighbors were, and which ruler you owed allegiance to. This religious tribalism spilled violently into politics, culminating in the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648. This wasn't just a war between kings, it was a devastating conflict that ripped through Central Europe, fueled by religious identity and deep-seated animosity between Catholic and Protestant factions. Armies ravaged entire regions. Populations were decimated by fighting, famine, and disease, sometimes by as much as 75% in some German states. It became a war of us versus them, where the them were not just people with different beliefs, but enemies whose very existence threatened your own. The human cost was astronomical, reminding us how identity-based conflicts, even those with religious origins, can quickly become political and lead to unimaginable suffering. And then, closer to home for many, the American Civil War. This was the ultimate expression of political tribalism reaching its violent peak. The North and the South were not just distinct regions, they had evolved into fundamentally different political and social identities, largely centered around the institution of slavery. Economic interests, moral beliefs, and cultural norms became so intertwined with regional identity that compromise became impossible. Each side viewed the other with suspicion, contempt, and eventually outright hatred. Abolitionists saw slaveholders as morally bankrupt, while Southerners saw Northerners as meddling aggressors threatening their way of life. The political process designed for debate and compromise simply couldn't hold. When the other side is seen as fundamentally wrong, and your own group's survival feels at stake, the only option left seems to be confrontation. Over 600,000 Americans died, brother fighting brother, a stark and brutal reminder of what happens when political tribalism cannot be contained. The challenge we face today is that our modern world, with its rapid information flow and echo chambers, amplifies these tribal instincts. Social media platforms designed to connect us often inadvertently push us into like-minded groups, reinforcing our existing beliefs and demonizing opposing viewpoints. Algorithms prioritize engagement, and what drives engagement more than outrage and conflict? This makes it harder than ever to step outside our bubbles, to genuinely understand the other side, or even to find shared facts. When facts become just another weapon in the tribal war, the very foundation of rational discourse crumbles. So, how do societies prevent this slide into destructive tribalism? History suggests that strong institutions, a commitment to shared democratic norms, and a willingness to find common ground are essential. In Rome, the breakdown of institutional loyalty allowed strongmen to thrive. In Europe, the lack of a shared political identity beyond religious affiliation led to open war. In America, the failure to compromise on fundamental issues plunged the nation into conflict. A healthy society needs its citizens to prioritize their shared nation and its foundational principles over their specific political team. It requires leaders who appeal to our better angels, not just our base instincts. It demands a public that values truth and civil debate more than partisan victories. The key moment for any society facing rising tribalism is when individuals choose. Do you double down on your team no matter the cost, or do you recognize the inherent dangers and seek to rebuild bridges? Do you listen to voices that challenge your assumptions, or do you only consume information that confirms your existing biases? The historical patterns are clear. Unchecked tribalism leads to instability, conflict, and ultimately, the weakening or even collapse of the very society it claims to defend. In conclusion, history isn't just a record of the past. It's a living textbook of consequences. From the fall of the Roman Republic to the devastation of the 30 Years' War and the heartbreak of the American Civil War, the message is chillingly consistent. When politics becomes tribal, reason gives way to emotion, dialogue becomes demonization, and common ground disappears under a mountain of animosity. We are not doomed to repeat these mistakes, but we must actively choose not to. We must choose shared citizenship over unthinking partisanship, empathy over outrage, and a commitment to truth over tribal loyalty. The choice, as always, is ours. If you want to understand more about these historical moments and how they shape our world today, click on the video popping up next.